Hey guys, welcome to Oddcast. I'm your host Joe, and today we're going to talk about Werewolf by Night. This is your warning. I don't know why you would have clicked a spoiler review if you haven't already watched it. But if you haven't already seen Werewolf by Night, you should probably leave now. This is your warning. That was the only one you're going to get. Alright, so diving into Werewolf by Night, I want to start off by saying that it is a Marvel special presentation, which, by the way, is fantastic. I think seeing more Marvel special presentations would be great. I think that it is a very nice way to kind of chunk in like characters that you don't necessarily need a whole series dedicated to, and they don't have enough material to make a movie out of. That said, I think that there was enough material to make a full movie or series out of Werewolf by Night, but with things that fans want to see that you're kind of doing fan service of, like Wolverine versus Hulk. I don't want to sit through an 8-episode series of Wolverine versus Hulk. I don't think that's needed. I also don't think that a full movie that's like 2 hours long would be needed. Just do it quick, like 45 minutes, in, out, done. And that is one of the things I love about Werewolf by Night, is the fact that it moves at this very rapid-paced clip, which just makes it great. There's not a moment where you're just like not engaged. I went into it expecting that Moon Knight would be there. He was not, but I'm not going to lie to you. I was not disappointed that he was not there, because it was hard to notice because it was moving at such a quick pace. And the pacing was so good because you have two actors delivering fantastic performances and expanding the MCU in ways that you didn't think that it would go. Those two actors, of course, being Gail Garcia Bernal, who is playing Jack Russell. I love the pun. And Laura Donnelly, formerly of The Nevers, which is what maybe some of you know her from, playing Elsa, not the one that needs to let it go, Bloodstone. Maybe she does need to let it go. Introducing these two characters, I think, was very nice, because it's a way to ground the audience into what's going on, considering that you're kind of coming in the middle of things. So you're coming in after Elsa's dad has passed away, Ulysses Bloodstone, and after a minor exposition in the beginning, you find out that Elsa and Jack are both at a meeting of monster hunters who are there to claim the Bloodstone for their own. And this is, of course, passed down through the heritage of the Bloodstone clan, which Elsa has been away from. All that's done in like the first 5 minutes. They just pack it up neatly with a bow and they say, here you go. And then they let the dramatic tension start. And it's very interesting because it plays a little bit like being Werewolf. Because in Werewolf, of course, you have to figure out who the monster is amongst you. And the audience is kind of hinted into this. When Jack first shows up, the narrator even says, you know, with a monster among them. And I think that that's kind of a clever take. The film style was fantastic. I love seeing things done in black and white, and I think the way that this was done was just genius. They put all the emphasis and focus on the Bloodstone without really going into heavy details about what it can do. I know that it's a powerful artifact. I know that it dampens monsters around it. I know that it can repel monsters near it. And my understanding is that there are more of these gemstones, because it was created around the same time as the Infinity Stones, but it's not one of those stones. It's something else. And this one, of course, ties into dimensional rifts to hell. So I think that's kind of cool if they get those stones together. So this might be the indoctrination into that idea. That said, the idea that this world is layered underneath the world that already exists in the MCU, chef's kiss. That's such a great way to take it. I love the compartmentalization of what's going on, because you've got Thor and everybody in space doing their own thing. You have the big guardians of Earth handling big things that impact the whole globe. And then you've got street level, which of course would be like your defenders, like Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Spider-Man, and Daredevil. And then now you've got this kind of mystic side, which is coming into things. So I think that that's kind of cool that you've got these 4 different factions going on, so that you can tell all these unique stories that happen in each one of those areas, and then still find a way to bring them together when you need to, or take team members from here and there and kind of mix and match as it goes along. That's the way the comics worked. That's why everybody loves team-ups, and I think that that's definitely the right direction to go with that. That said, won't it be fun to see Laura Donnelly and Kristen Ritter on screen together? Because they already look really similar, and my understanding is that Kristen is coming back for Jessica Jones, and I don't know when she'd be able to interact with Elsa Bloodstone, but I think that it would be a lot of fun to see them interact. That said, in their world building for this kind of dark cinematic universe of monsters and magic, you come in the middle of it. They already established right at the jump that monsters have been around for forever and that there are elite monster hunters out there who kill these monsters and protect the human world. But as we learn throughout the presentation, it's not always as it seems. Jack is, of course, a werewolf, so he can't control himself when he's in werewolf form, but he has a kindred spirit with the other monsters because he is, after all, a monster.
I'm a monster!
He's only an uncontrollable monster one night out of the month, but he is, of course, a monster who is hunted for his entire life because of that reason, because he carries on the curse of his family. So, that said, I think that it's really cool that they establish that it's already something that's there, so they don't have to re-establish it later when they introduce a character like, say, Blade, who we know has already been introduced, and we know he's recruiting a team, and now that Wolverine is going to be in Deadpool 3, it really, really leans heavy into, I'm pretty sure the Midnight Suns are coming, except they're probably going to swap out Doctor Strange for Agatha Harkness, especially with Covenant of Chaos. Other cool things that happened throughout the telling of the story. I love the undead marionette thing. I thought that was very funny. The robotic movements as he's automated, giving kind of a physical form to an after dead speech as opposed to the holographic form that Tony takes. Of course, one of those two characters being more heroic than the other. Tony's the hero, not Ulysses. The Man-Thing, Ted, is also really cool. In the comics, Man-Thing is the guardian of the Nexus of all universes, which is, I think, where the book of Ashanti was in Multiverse of Madness. We do know that it was hinted at in Thor Dark World. Also, the old black and white tropes, fantastic. I love the idea of like making it that old classic horror cinema stuff just in time for Halloween. Scratches on the film, the little reel pops to tell you when you need to change to the next reel if you were working a projection booth. I remember, I was there, I had to do that. The transformation of Jack into the werewolf, great. Do it all without having to do like heavy CG to transform him right then and there, instead just showing us flashes as he transforms because the Bloodstone can force a monster to reveal their true nature. Then watching him struggle with a battle with himself, much the way that the Hulk does, also fantastic. But the black and white allows you to do the Alfred Hitchcock approach.
I squeeze screams out of chocolate syrup!
To violence and blood, because of course if there's blood on the screen, you have to up the rating. This lets them do incredibly violent things throughout the entire presentation without affecting their rating, which they do fantastically. She cuts off dude's arm, she shoots him in the head, and he drowns in his own blood. Incredibly violent and gory, which is kind of, I think, Marvel and Kevin Feige's way of saying, hey guys, remember how you thought that maybe Deadpool wasn't going to go over so well, or that we couldn't do Punisher? Guess what? We totally can, and we're gonna. But violence aside, Werewolf by Night is a fantastic storytelling, moves at a clip. I highly recommend that you check it out. It's worthwhile. The investment of watching it is well worth it, because it does show Disney that violence isn't necessarily something that they should shy away from, that it can effectively tell a story without ruining it. Because sometimes there are certain characters that should be more violent. Punisher, Daredevil, we're looking at you. But that's going to be a conversation for a different time. You should go ahead and hit the like, subscribe, and the little bell for notifications so that you can join us on that conversational piece as well. Is violence the right move for Disney? Otherwise, let me know in the comments what you think of Werewolf by Night. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Do you think that this is a bad move? Do you think that it's dumb? Do you not want to see any more special presentations from Marvel? Let me know. But until next time, this is Joe. This has been Oddcast. Stay safe and have a great one.